The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, I think I need to be on this.
No, it's not a problem.
Hey, it's Mike. Who's in here? Hello?
Yeah, hey, I think that this isn't Andrew on here, is it?
No, it's Mike.
I thought so. Okay, it was just misnamed. I thought so. Okay, sorry about that. You're all good to take it?
No, who's this actually? I think we're live with everybody, by the way.
This is Mr.
Mr. S.
That's
A.
okay. This is Mr. S.
Yeah, I'm not getting my
Okay.
screen to come up, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay, well, you're a presenter, so you should be good to go.
It's not working. I've been hitting screen share and it's not popping for some reason here.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that you had it taken care of. I'm actually in an event right now, so I have to go. I apologize, but you're good to take this.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve. Mr. S.
Okay. Okay, good. Sorry about that.
No problem. Hey guys, if you can hear me, we're having a couple difficulties here. Hang on a sec. My screen share, you guys are not seeing my screen, right? I assume. Okay. All right. Hang tight a sec. Let me try a couple things here, okay? It's never a dull moment around here. I think when he came in, he screwed it up. Yeah, no, Fred, it's not. I see. That's what I'm seeing too. It's not showing my screen. I just have um, a black a window screen up at the moment. No bueno. All right, hang tight. Let me try a couple things. Maybe now? All right, wonderful. Sorry about that, guys. I think when he came in, he took control of it for a second. It took a little bit for WebEx to give it back to me here. Okay, so this is Mike. It's not Mr. S. So if you guys are here for Mr. S, I apologize. I just found out I was doing a webinar a very short time ago. So I don't have anything officially prepared, but I have a ton to talk to you guys about with the market and what's going on here. So how does that sound? We'll go over some things, charts, and some thoughts here. Does that work for you guys tonight? And you can ask any type of questions you want. All right, so first off, you guys know who I am. We're at Alpha Shark. I'm one of the mods there. At Alpha Shark, you need to get a hold of me. You can follow me on Twitter at Options Mike. Right here at Options Mike. Follow me, and I put tons of stuff up there. You can follow me there. It has links to my subscription service if you're interested. And I'm not here to sell you guys anything tonight, so you guys can get out of that and not have to worry about being sold a thing. I thought you guys would appreciate that. So let's start off with my personal thoughts here on the market. This fear and greed index, right? 3 weeks ago, we were up at 79 and 80. We got down to, I think I saw us at a 7 last week or 6. I've seen this thing go to zero, guys. 2016 in February it went down to zero. But this is a good thing. It means we've totally changed the dynamics of this market, which kind of needed to happen, right? Whether you like it or not, we kind of needed a cool off in this marketplace, the market here, and we finally got it, for better or for worse here. So let's get rid of that. And let's go to the chart of the SPX. Now, if you guys have been looking at the SPX here today, one of the things that happened was in the futures market on the ES, and I've been talking, let me pull that up. I've been talking about this for a while here. This big down day, right? So 2-6. You guys remember 2-6, right? Tuesday. That night, we went all the way to the 200-day, but by the time we opened, you can see on the SPY, we were well off of it, right? You see the difference here between the two charts. And I always kind of felt we were going to have to retest that area, that 200-day, before we went. And we sure as we did, right? We finally did it. So let's go back to our other chart here. We finally did it back on Monday. I'm sorry, was it Monday? I'm sorry, Friday. And we bounced like mad off of it, right? Beautiful, huge, big tail reversal. Not even just took back, went well above everything, right to the 100-day moving average, where we've been playing with the 100-day now ever since, right? And right now you have a little bit of an I don't know moment developing in this market. And for me, what I'm seeing here is you have the 100-day is acting as intermediate and midterm support, and the 8-day is kind of acting as resistance. You can see it on the SPY more. It's actually touching into it as resistance as it's coming down. And you're getting a tight little move and squeeze here. And when we talk about something like this, there's a couple patterns that could end up happening out of this. So we could get a possible H cell setup. You know what's missing today? My drawing tools. All right, well, that's not fun. Yeah, see if we can use this. Haha. All right, H cell pattern. Can I change this color? Let's make this better. God, I love this. All right. So, H cell pattern, right? An H cell pattern, we come down, here's your H, lowercase h, you come up and you make a rounding and eventually roll over and then you go down. Does that make sense? I'm not saying we're making one. I'm talking today, I want to talk to you guys right now about possibilities. So you make a lowercase h, and if you break that h, all right, you look for a lower move. Okay? All right. We could also, hello. Okay. We could also be trying to make potentially a W pattern. We come down, we come up, we go back down, and in a perfect world, we put in just a little bit higher of a low, and then we come up and we go like this. Right? You guys are aware what a W pattern is, right? So what I'm trying to do tonight, guys, is give you some ideas of patterns to possibly look for to be paying attention to. Right? You guys all see that. Anybody have any questions on this? And then lastly, what we've all gotten very accustomed to is the V bounce. We come down, we put in a low, and we explode higher. Right? We've seen this multiple times, right? You know, here, V bounce. Here, V bounce, right? We've gotten used to seeing these little bounces like this, where we come in and we quickly go back up. Okay. So when we look at the SPX here, does anybody know what we have tomorrow morning that's going to be a big player in this? CPI, thank you. You guys are good. Vinit nailed it. KM, you got it. Fred, hey, that's right. So what this market is suddenly very, very worried about is bond yields, right? Let me pull over here. So I want to bring up a chart of TLT. All right, TLT is the 20-year, tracks the 20-year bonds. And I'm going to open this nice and big for you, and I want to show you this chart that I've been showing now for a while. Okay, this is a long term. This is 5 years. Yeah, then producer price. But this, I think tomorrow's the bigger one that we need to worry about here. See this long-term trend line I've drawn? Right? Look what happened here. Right? So you can see that now if I zoom in for it. We got a clean break, tried to bounce, failed. This is on a weekly chart, and now we're down here below it. Right? So we have a definite trend change here. And what the market's worried about is that these interest rates are going to go up out of control. And you saw TVT bouncing a little bit today. It still has not, TLT, be able to regain the 8-day here. So until it can regain the 8-day and regain this trend line, there's a little bit of concern that this could be the next thing to go, right? The bonds, that there's concern that we're going to see a big sell-off in bond market and that yields are going to go up and interest rates are going to go up and the bonds are going to get dumped. Of course, I'm kind of the opinion if bonds are being sold and they're dumping money out of bonds, where's it going to go? Who has any idea where it's going to go? Stocks, you got it. Equities, yes, Fred, right. And specifically, it may go looking for what types? Mohammed Gag, right? What kind of stocks might it go looking for? Not necessarily banks, maybe some industrials, but I'm thinking something else. I'm thinking high dividend yield. Joe's got it. Dividend yield. You got it, Joe. Right? Because if you're coming out of bonds, you want to put your money, you're in bonds because you want to be somewhere safe that you get a high return on it. You're going to go right in crypto. There you go. There's the fastest way to lose your money. No, not GE, Joe. Definitely not GE. So if I was you, I'll go out there, look at some of these names like Walmart and stuff that have big dividends and start looking at some of those names because they may start buying into some of those names when they come out here after the initial shock. Okay, so I want to show you that because I wanted to take a look at that. So that's a concern out there. When we look at the VIX here, guys, the VIX completely changed character on us here, right? Where we had been on this, right? Where every time we got out of the Bollinger Bands, we sold off. We didn't do it here. We ramped, we put up. Now this is a little bit of an artificial high, this 50, right? This 50 here is a little bit artificial because of the unraveling that night of the XIV and SVXUY, the low volatility trade. It's worried about interest rates, Joe, because the yields are going to go up, interest rates going up. It's really worried about the interest rates going up. That's what has it. That's what some people think have it on edge. For me, if interest rates are going up, I would think the banks would be going up. So something doesn't make sense to me here at the moment. The VIX. So let me show you this on the VIX. So I put this chart out there that night, and I want you guys to see this. If I open this up to 20 years on the VIX, do you guys see this one thing here, right? Can you see this? What do you guys see? Yeah, but specifically, yeah, only about 8 times have we been here. But specifically, unless there is an event, okay, what happened in 2008, Fred? Right, but what was it the cause? What scared the markets? What was it that got the markets? What sold us off? Financial crash, exactly. Unless there's an event, the VIX generally tops out at 50. Lehman, right, David, right? So is there an event going on right now that we should all be very concerned about from a worldwide or financial event? Does anybody think of anything that is scary like a Lehman or like the 98, the dot-com crash, right? Like the dot-com crash. Is there anything out there like that right now? Nah, Dan, Korea's calm right now. Crypto doesn't have a huge, crypto is not the same as the market. This short VIX trade, it is a little scary. I'll give you that one, Aaron. The failure, but that's already been, that was the spike. That's what got us to 50 km. That was the thing that got us to 50. I'm thinking, longer term systemic problems. Is there anything? I don't have one. So I'm asking you guys here, right? Sure, it can. Absolutely can end in 1 week. If they blew everybody out and they're out, it could absolutely be done with that. I mean, there may be another a bump in the road or a couple hiccups there here and there, but most of that trade is unwound here. Right? So let me show you something to watch for now in the markets. If you're trading, right, keep an eye on UVXY, not to do anything with it, right? Watch the volume. So I'm going to put here, the VIX and UVXY don't always trade the same. Yeah, there'll be more, and there could be, KM. There's been funds failing left and right, but I think most of those things got hit already. UVXY is a leveraged VIX instrument. Please do not touch these. First of all, please let me go out here right now. It says, unless you're a scalp trader, day trader, do not take these overnight, okay? Everybody say, yes, Mike, I understand. I will not take these overnight. Please stay away from these overnight in case they decide to understand. Yep, the ETNs, you got it, Joe. Okay, but watch this, because everybody assumes that UVXY is going to move up when the VIX is going up or come down when the VIX is going down. But remember, this trades. It's an ETN, right? It's an ETF, it's an ETN, and it has its own volume, which will move it. What you want to look for, if the VIX is not really coming down and this starts dumping, is the sign that they're getting out of the way. Triple leverage, yeah. You understand what I'm saying, though? If this or the VXX, same idea, doesn't always. That's what I'm trying to point out to you guys here. So let's see here. Not blue. Here. VIX. And let's make this 15. All right, so your VIX versus your VXX, right? You can see they kind of move together, but not always, right? The VIX actually popped up a little bit towards the close where VXX dumped. They were dumping shares. They were getting out of the way, right? So my point is, you watch the VXX and UVXY. If they start selling hard, the VIX is not coming down hard, that means they're dumping the ETN. They're getting out of there, and that's probably a good signal that the markets are probably a little bit safer. Something to keep an eye on there. All right, so back to our chart here. So we talked about the VIX. The Qs, by the way, continue to be one of the stronger sectors. And where's my QQQ? Here we go. All right, the Qs, whereas the SPX hit the 200-day, the Qs came down. This is the 150, which I only use very rarely, guys, so don't read anything into that. I only have it on there for very rare occasions. But really, the Qs basically held around the 100-day. All right, big difference. It stopped at the 8-day here, but it's showing a lot more relative strength than the SPY right now. The IWM has been the wicked stepchild, right? The IWM was the one that gave us our first clues of what was happening here. It lost the 8-day, lost the 21-day long before, before the SPY did, and it was showing weakness well ahead of everything. It has not gotten back to the 8-day. It's a little weaker here at this point, right? The IWM remains weak. That said, if this thing takes off, probably a good sign for stocks, something else to keep an eye on. The oscillators got incredibly oversold. You guys who follow me on Twitter, you saw me posting some of this. Your NYMOT, which is a New York Stock Exchange oscillator, got to negative 380. We haven't seen a reading like this in a long, long time, my friends, right? This is 2 years of data right here. Nothing like this here. Very oversold, signaling we should bounce, right? Came up, came back down a little bit, and now we're all the way up to plus 88, minus 88 already. Still oversold, but not nearly as much. So, it can go all the way up now to as high as it wants, or it can drop back down. The NAMOT, which is the NASDAQ oscillator, right? Got the negative 280, which is big for the NASDAQ. You can see this thing very rarely gets down below 200 and is now back to plus 69. So right now for me, we'll go back to, let's pull up a chart of the SPY real quick. The really thing you have to watch now, tomorrow, is how we handle this area right here, the 8-day, this 267.45 area. The 8-day when we open tomorrow will probably be right down on top of here if we open flat on this candle. What do we do here? Do we push through here or do we fail here? That's the real question facing the stock market right now. If we fail here and we roll down, do we go below the 100-day? Do we come back in and put a secondary low or just keep going? That's the real question. So you kind of have this little line drawn. On a personal note, for me, guys, what I would love to see is here, I would love to see us fail here, go down a little bit, get some more short interest sucked in, and then rip and reverse and head higher and form that W pattern that we talked about. But that's a perfect world, and you guys all know that we never see that in a perfect world. So keep an eye on the SPY tomorrow. See how it reacts. Can it reclaim this area and start going? Joe, whether we get it or not, I don't know. The other thing today I noted is when we started closing in on the 8-day, I called it out on Twitter today to everybody. I put a picture up for you. Look at the volume today compared to where we've been. There was not big volume today, right? Not big volume today in this rally. I don't have much on here, guys. Most of what I have on was already in deep trouble and very red on Options World, and the rest I'm in some stock, and I've been trading around a small Bank of America position all week. So I've been buying it and selling it and buying it and selling it. Mark is scared of Fred. So, look from that. So this is a time where I say you need to go shopping. You need to start putting your shopping list together and start looking around. So, guys, since I wasn't prepared, let's talk about charts and because we're going over some sectors and we'll let you pull up some stuff and ask questions. So let's start off first off with the financials. No, we're going to go sector by sector, Fred, so hold your thoughts. So let's look at the financials. You guys name some ones you want to look at there. I'll start off with the XLF. We're going to do it just a little bit differently tonight. I know, you guys hate me. Okay, so I want to start off with the ETF because the ETF here came down and showed relative strength to the SPY, right? Kind of like the Qs, we held the 100-day. And now we're stuck at the 8-day, right? And I got these lines put in there because this line here became resistance, should have been support and wasn't, and is now resistance again. You can see the ETF's right back to it. And then it has micro support right underneath it. So I want you to take a look at that and see that now that's trading. And then let's take a look at a GS and a JP Morgan. So when you look at GS, and I do have 2 calls on GS that are underwater that I bought right about this area, so they're just a little underwater at this point. GS is acting very much like the XLF, right? Kind of came down to the same low and stuck here right on the 8-day, waiting with the XLF. Looks the same. But JP Morgan does not. JP Morgan, what did I do? There we go. Sorry, guys. JP Morgan is already back above all the moving averages and right at this resistance level, right? It's acting best in breed. It's acting a lot better. Can you guys see the difference? Right. The other one that is acting tremendously better and has had tremendous amount of call flow on it this week, Bank of America. Look at Bank of America. Look how well this one's behaving. Look at this chart. When you look at these 2 charts, these are charts you would want to be long, right? And what I guess the point I want to make to you guys is focus on strong names. Although they do seem to be loving these earnings and these weak names that have been beaten up lately. But focus on strong names. All right, Bank of America and JP Morgan look really good up here. They look really nice. All right, let's look at some chip makers. Let's start off with NVIDIA and we'll work our way from there. All right, NVIDIA caught one hell of a wicked bet today. Let me pull it up here for you. I have to go find it on my option flow, my private Twitter feed, so give me a sec. Okay, you guys ready for this? September 23rd, 23rd, yeah. I screwed it up. Yeah, September 235 calls, a block of 600. They paid $32.30. They bought 1,200 total. They were clean. They were not tied to stock, and they open. That is a big, big bet into NVIDIA, guys. That's, you know, big money. Somebody put big money into that, right? They weren't stock replacement. They're out of the money, right? 235. They weren't in the money. Usually stock replacements out of the money. They're just expensive options in a very, very long-term bet. One thing I do want to talk to you guys about is be careful buying way out of the money options right now. Who knows why? Fred wins again. You got it. IV. IV is very high, well above historical averages. If we really rally, the IV is going to come down hard and your stock's going to be going up and your options may not be going up. Yeah, Fred. So if you're playing and scalping right now, please play close to the money or at the money. You can do spreads, Joe, control your cost. If you want to start nibbling on some longs here, go out in time, just go small. So you can add and wait to see what happens. Does that make sense? Don't go big. Small nibbles here. Small type nibbles right now until you think the market's clear. So NVIDIA looks good. It's holding above all the moving averages after earnings. It still looks good. This flame looks like it may want to retest high, so I'd keep an eye on this one. Some other in this sector. Anybody watching Micron? What is it today with this thing? Oh, come on. Micron. I was smart enough to buy Micron in the hole here on some massive call buying that came screaming in. Can you say David Tepper? So, last Friday, no, I still have it. Yeah, here we go. So this is what started showing up. Micron, they started coming after it small. July 21's 1 million order swept. Right? July 24's 1.6 million. July 21's 1.5 million. I started buying common on Micron at that point. So the one thing you need to be aware of is this 50-day has been resistance on this. All these hits in here, all these tags, you can see it has not been able to push through yet. Joe, I saw the flow and I didn't wait. I didn't think twice about it. I jumped on it and grabbed common. We have an event on the 13th, which is Friday, right? No. Do I have my dates wrong? It was today. What's the right date? Hang on. Let me open back up. Anyway, one day this week I can't find the order what I'm looking for. They're at GS conference 2/9. Thank you, Dan. Friday. Yep, Friday. They thought it was NVIDIA. No, NVIDIA was earnings are done. This was some coming in. This is Dave Tepper. They have a GS conference where they're going to be doing something. So keep an eye on this one because if it gets above the 50 and holds, this thing could quickly try to run back up towards this 47 area or higher. So I like NVIDIA. I'm going to share another one with you. We do have AMAT earnings tomorrow night, guys. So we do have a chip maker earnings tomorrow night. Just be aware. Intel. Last week, they dropped a missile into Intel in the middle of this sell-off. March 45 calls, 10,000 of them. This was on, I think, Friday. It was Thursday or Friday last week. So this is a name I'd keep my eye on. Will I stay long Micron? I don't know. Big funds love to go deep in the money like that. They get no time decay, lots of delta, all 100 trades like a stock. Long-term positions, Joe, I'll hold. Short-term options like I have on Bank of America and stuff, I'll bail. So long-term positions, I'm not going to fret. Positions that are red and just don't matter, I'm not going to get out of. Does that make sense? You know, so I have a couple on that are going to be, that are really red that I have until March, but they're not good. No reason to sell them. But yeah, stock and stuff I'll hold, because I don't think, even if it's bad, it's the end. I think it's just another little drawdown. All right, so Intel, another one that had big buying. So I like those names here. Let's look at energy, guys. Energy has been the wicked stepchild since we put up that big move, right? And if you look at this chart, it gave us clues to get out. Riding the 8-day, riding the 8-day, riding the 8-day, riding the 8-day. Every touch of it, it exploded higher. Hit the 8-day, came up. Hit the 8-day, and what did it do on this day? It held it, but it didn't go back up. Broke it on volume, quickly down. It gave you clues to get out. Now, I am long. Yeah, not just it came down, it broke it, right? It came out. It didn't bounce off of it. It came down this time. I started a position on the XLE and common down off the 200-day. So I have just to have some of it now, room to add. So I started a long-term position, long-term. Why? Because we gave this whole move back, and it just seems like a good area to try to start taking some small ones in for me, but high risk. So all the energy names, none of them are looking good. I know who reported tonight? Oxy, right? Oxy reported tonight, and they're getting smacked again. So just switching that up for you real quick. So until I start seeing some better flow, I'm just avoiding this sector. There's a name you want me to look at in this sector, put them out. Let's go through some of them. But this sector right now is on my pretty much on my avoid list right now. I'm starting a position in the XLE itself. XOM was one of the biggest problems, right? PEP is one of those ones that I'm about to lose all my money on, Joe. Joe, we'll go over it. XOM, horrible earnings, got destroyed, has some support off this 74, 72 area. So if you want to try to go long, you can try it versus this. It got overextended and couldn't really bounce. And that's my one concern here. When something gets this sold off this fast and this extended down, you should get a better bounce than you're seeing in it. So I'd be very careful with XOM down here. CVX, let's go over that one. I don't know about Saudi, that one. I don't know if I want to touch that, Fred, the IPO, especially with everything going on and we're doing so much exporting now. Yeah, Joe, some big sauce. Sorry. CVX holding the 200-day, still got hit. It's been one of the stronger names in the sector. If it's going to bounce, this would be the first one I would be looking towards, right? This is the one that was one of the strongest that led us up. I would look for this one, and the other one I'd keep my eyes on is the one they were buying, trying to bounce, which was Schlumberger. These are two of the names they'd like to go after. And if you want a smaller one, Will, which has acted pretty well through this. They all have bear flags here, Joe. They all do. I'm saying if they bounce and we turn. Bear flags don't always trigger. All right. Biotech, guys. Go to there, and then we'll open this up. Actually, I have a couple stocks I want to go over individuals once we get that. Biotech. right? Biotech was looking so strong, beaten up. Trump beat the hell out of it in the State of the Union, you know, and there's just a lot of concern right now about drug prices again that have crept back into the picture where this was starting to look so good. It's holding the 200-day. This is a good sign. We like that. So I'd keep an eye on it here. The longer it can hold here, the more likely it can try to rally again. This is a sector they liked. But you got to be careful in biotech. I generally, you know, individual names, you need to know dates and what's going on in them here. The one name that has helped bring us down here is Celgene, which used to be such a good name. It used to be best in breed. And Celgene from this day changed, right? Gap down, never retook the 21-day. Came in, gap down again, and then another big gap down. Tried to rebuild, could not get far into that gap, and now is sold off all the way back down here. So right now it remains in the penalty box. We'll see if it starts to come out. It got an upgrade this morning. There was some call buying on it today. So put that up here for you. The September 105s, 455K was a nice order there. And then some weekly 105s as well. I just typed that up. You guys get to love my, people in my service love my horrible typing. My apologies. But I keep an eye on this one because they're trying to buy it here. Okay, let's talk about some strong names that you should be looking to every day right now if the market's good. Netflix. Netflix finally got into its gap, didn't fill it. Fred, because I subscribe to Trade Alert. It tells me exactly what's going on with it. It tells me whether it's swept or a block. Or a split ticket, or if it's a cross, right? You guys know what a cross is? Cross is when two funds exchange the options, right? So it's meaningless. They're not being bought or sold. They're just being exchanged between two funds. All right, so Netflix here continues to look pretty good. And if you look at it, you have a wedge. And it's holding it above the 8, it's back above the 8-day today. So this is a name to keep on your long radar, right? Now, if the market really sells, you can try to short it down towards this 225 area, right? Where's the gap at? A little above it. It looks like it's 228-ish, right? There's your gap. So keep an eye on Netflix, 228. Thanks, Fred. Appreciate it. It's a pretty good guess, right? So keep an eye on this. But you have a nice little wedge coming to fruition here, and it's been strong. They've been buying the March 300s on it. So I'm putting a lot of this information out there for you guys so you can look at it. I am not touching Amazon because the options are extremely juiced. And when I talk about juiced, let me show you. The weekly Amazon calls here. Oops, see. All right. The weekly Amazon calls are trading at a huge premium. We're still, this is like 1550 right now, right here. Insane, right? I am not touching these. I just want to show you something. Compare these to Google. These things were similarly priced not long ago. Big difference. Big difference in the premiums right now. Amazon's trading a lot like Priceline, those premiums. That said, on Amazon here, looks like Netflix. You have a wedge, best in breed, stronger, well above the 8-day now. So what I would do is I would use this as a gauge of the market. If Amazon is strong and goes, that usually is a good sign for the rest of the market at this point because they're willing to buy Amazon and buy risk, right? If you don't mind paying those premiums, guys, play away. But one thing I will tell you is this. When you are playing right now with options in this market, if they start to rally, names that can move more are going to be better bets than names that don't move if IV comes crashing in. So a name like a name like Snap, which usually barely moves $1 a day, may be very tough on options versus a Tesla or a Netflix or an Amazon or a Google. You get the idea. No, OSTK, things that can move are going to give you more movement to help battle that IV drain. So be much more careful with names that are grinders or don't move much right now. So Amazon still looks good. What are some other names you guys like to think you look good out there? Twitter definitely has. We're going to come to that in a second. I definitely want to talk to you about my Twitter. I love Twitter. Oh, come on. What is wrong with this thing today? There we go. I am having technical difficulties. Please stand by. Come on. Boeing. Boeing's been... Thanks, Fred. Yeah, Twitter has been very, very good to me the last 4 months. Boeing, another name they love. Best in breed, holding above the 8-day, never got, came down below the 21-day, never really sold off hard here. Continues to look good, a name they continue to come back to. Keep an eye on this one. Lots of strength here. All right, a couple other ones real quick. We're going to come to Twitter. EA. Acting well here. Still right on the 8-day, right? Holding this right back to this breakout level. Sort of junk stock, but consistent. All right, so just some ideas. Look for the strong stocks. Those are the ones you want to play in. Those are the ones you want to put your money in. Bank of America, JP Morgan. These are where you want to go. All right, let's go to the tweet. All right, today was my worst day with Twitter in a long time because I totally did not get involved in this move. And I'm usually really good about getting involved in Twitter. And today was one of those days where I got caught off guard with it. I was trying to get into BABA, and I didn't fill on BABA, and I got pissed off, and I lost focus, guys, and it happens. And it had this huge day, and they were speaking at GS today, and I forgot about that. So I don't know whether we go or not. I have no options on Twitter right now. I sold my last of them last week. Made a ton of money on it. I still have common from 17 and change that I have a lot less of than I had from last earnings, but I still have a bunch. And I do think this is going higher. I will say this. I started talking to you guys about Twitter. My target for this year was, I said some way or another, I thought it got towards 32. All right, well, we hit 35. Does Twitter get bought out here? I think it became more difficult. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. Companies that the rumors were looking at it from like 29 to the low 30s, now you're looking at paying up into the mid 40s, if not higher here. I don't know if companies are going to want to pay that. Hey, Mark, how are you? So, but that said, I love what the action here today. If it breaks above this area, it can try to squeeze some more and go higher. Stock looks good. As long as it holds this gap, this thing looks in play. In a perfect world, I would have rather have let the 8-day catch up. Let's go to a sister stock, Snapalicious. And you guys can start putting symbols in you want to take a look at. Snapalicious here, got that huge squeeze move, has come in, not acting special, not falling apart. Right? At this point, you got to watch. I'd like to see the 8-day catch up and propel it higher, let it cool off and consolidate. Had a big move here. Right? That said, as long as it continues to hold the 8-day, and if it got to it, I would try to long some off of it. And if it takes out this range, it can squeeze higher, right? Your next area is really back up to this 23 if it really wants to go. Match. And this thing's just been a rock star. I hate their service, but this thing's an absolute rock star. So it's extended up here. I would not be initiating this high. That said, as long as it continues to act well and hold in, I would stay with it. Look at this. Didn't care. 3 days, barely sold off for this market sell-off. Rock star status. No, Fred, no love for me. UBS, gentlemen. Ugh. Well, stronger than the S&P. I generally do not like to play names like this, Gene. I'm just going to be honest with you. I stay away from them. They don't have big moves most of the time. It's very gappy stock. So I generally don't play it. That said, at this point, you can stay, if it's going to be good, it's going to got to get back above the 50-day and get going here, which is now resistance. You have micro support right where it's at. If it doesn't hold here, your next stop, they hold, you go to the low of this move, and then you're looking down towards this 1760 area, which is this area of which was support, was resistance, should now become some support. Right at that gap, you got that little gap there too. Keep an eye on that. BABA today, Fred. BABA. I wanted it. I should have bought it pre-market. I tried to buy common on the open. I said, I think this thing can go to 81 today. It went to 82. It's not acting special yet, but it's not falling apart, Fred. So, big down move, still holding this channel, right? Still has yet to violate this gap. We've touched it a couple times. 200 days there now at the gap. It's come up to it. And this stuff. And the one thing I want to point out to you guys, this action here is okay. It's refreshing the setups. I think BABA is still a good name. Baidu had big earnings tonight, right? So Baidu, last I saw, was up nicely. Baidu is up nicely still. It held it. I don't know if they've had their call or not yet. If Baidu's good, watch BABA tomorrow. Watch JD tomorrow. Watch VIPS tomorrow. VIPS had earnings yesterday. Yeah. So if Baidu's going to be strong, look at the other names in the sector. Chinese sector there, right? Things to keep an eye on. By the way, you guys saw Square today. Square woke up today. Hasn't had earnings yet. Woke up, engulfed this range back above the 21-day and all the moving averages. If it can hold here, maybe it can build and try to run back up and get up through this high. A lot of these stocks are going to have to rebuild some of these patterns. One name I'd be very careful with here would be Facebook. Facebook is not acting special in this space right now. We've seen some bad news on it. We've seen some issues upon it. It's sold off all the way to the 200-day. Remember, the Qs never got down this far. It came all the way down. And, today was a nice short if you wanted it. Didn't say it was an easy short, but it was a nice short. So I look at this. It did not get close to the 8-day. Just not acting really well or special here right now. So if the market gets weak, I wouldn't be afraid to go short this name, as it's not acting special. Apple totally changed character. The buyback program must be back on. Retook the 200-day with authority and then some yesterday, back above the 8-day. Here comes your test of this area. Lots of resistance right here where the 21-day is. See how we handle that. I felt this was kind of overdone. That said, Apple has not been leading for a while in these markets here. It did help us lead us down. When we were going down, Apple was the one that was showing the weakness most often first. So see how it rebuilds. Nothing special call buying yet. Lots of small stuff, but nothing that we really want to see. What is Friday, guys? Everybody should know this. Yep, Joe, 168. What's Friday? Payday. Nope. Not jobs, not payday. Monthly expiration, David. You got it. Monthly February, it's already Feb expiration. Nope, Feb expiration. A lot of the action today, my read on a lot of this was they were already rolling stuff out. they were already pushing names up to roll stuff out, and there was a lot of that going on here today. So just be aware, I think they've started some of this earlier. Tesla today woke up. It took back this trend line. Every time this name looks like it's going to be good, it falls apart. Every time this name looks bad, it rips back up. Monthly expiration, there's a lot more options, Fred. So there's a huge difference between weeklies and monthlies. There's just tons more options out there in open interest that they have to roll out and deal with. So they like to whip names around to get them to where they need them to be to move those options out, or to make them expire worthless, or whatever they're going to do. So there's a lot of moving around to have things down. No, Mark, I do not trade futures either. I don't know if it is a Max Payne day. I haven't looked, Fred. Yeah. So, right now, this thing, it's just a tough trade. For me, Tesla right now is a day trade only. It's a scalp. You don't hold this thing overnight. Just too wicked. No compelling good setup here, right? Had it done this, like this time and bounced off of it, that would have been a nice trade. But this leaves me questions. Okay, so my plan here for the week is to watch the SPY. We get back above this area, this 8-day, and start to rally. I'm going to be adding more risk and buying some more longs. I'm going to be looking at mostly the strong names. I'm going to be looking at the banks, right, specifically, and we'll see where we go from there. If we roll over here, I'm going to look to short some of the other names. Bond, ZB. I am already long TBT, Joe. I have common in TBT. So again, like the TLT, not much of a difference, just a little stronger here, right? So again, I may add more TBT if, depending on what the numbers is tomorrow. I may even take some options on it. I don't usually take options. I have sold premium against my TBT multiple times. Sold calls a lot. By the way, if you are just a longer term investment, something you guys can be doing here, right? You can start selling premiums if the market starts going down, and then buy them back cheaper. Yeah, Fred, they're worried about this. We've been seeing that correlation now for a while, right? And you've seen it even with TBT going up. I've seen the markets coming in. They're worried about it, but the one thing that makes no sense to me, if this is so true and interest rates are going up, why aren't the fins going? Why are the fins getting sold off too, right? There's some strange things at work here at this point. There's been a lot of divergences. I think part of this is that we've had such a long bull run in this market, right? We went 15 plus months without a 3% correction. Now we finally got a 12%. I mean, right? And we got it in days. And guys, I want to put this in perspective. These types of sell-offs usually take a month. We did it in days. Spooked a lot of people. Should also teach you guys a lot of lessons. So, this is where I get to preach for a minute. In my service to the people is up through here, I start telling everybody, be careful. Be very, very careful. Play small, don't have much on. We've had a huge run, made a lot of money. When we lost the 8-day here and we couldn't retake it, it was a sign not to be getting long here. Could have shorted if you really felt like shorting, but I wouldn't be going long into many names here that I was going to hold overnight, right? So if you're watching this and you just experienced this and you got hurt, look at this chart and learn from it. 8-day on a daily, Fred. Look at this chart. We are holding it, riding it, broke it. Okay, I have a problem here. We have problems. Couldn't retake it. Next thing that happened, we gapped down and start selling. Lost the 21 day. In that same day, if you had options that had value, you should have been blowing out of them here at this point. Done, gone, see you later, I'm out. That's the ATR trailing stop. I really only use it on the 5 and the 15-minute charts, Joe. I took it off, but Toss in his infinite wisdom decided to put it back on, the son of a bitch and bastards. I had to do it. I had to reload my study, so it came back in. I had to reload everything. Watch, I can get rid of that real quick. Blink. All gone. I used the 5 and the 15, Fred. All right. So now we have stayed below the 8-day. So the 8-day retaking it shows some commitment to back towards momentum. Next step above here, get through the 8-day on the SPY. You got to watch this area just because there's a lot of little resistance through here through 268. Then you got the 50 and the 21 together. You get through there and you hold. Now you start taking back some of this upper range. Yep, got gaps up here too. Guys, I want to appreciate everybody for joining me tonight. I love doing these with you. I think my next one is at the end of the month on a Sunday night, and we'll do that. And if you're struggling, you have questions, reach out to me, Ad Options Mike. You want to know how I trade. I hope this helps you guys. Please just be careful here. Don't overload on stuff until you get a better signal in the market, right? Just be cautious. Doesn't mean it doesn't trade. Be cautious. Market could still go down. Not saying it's going to. I'm just saying the market still could. Everybody have a wonderful night. Good luck tomorrow. We'll see what those CPI numbers bring in. I'll catch you guys later. Nice having you, Mark. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Fred, KM, all of you. David, appreciate it. Good night, everybody.